Welcome to Cadence Rose. Today we're going to be making and I'm going to be giving you the recipe to our coconut oil salt soap. So this soap is very easy and very simple. So the main thing about this soap is that it is 100% coconut oil. There's no other oils, no olive oil. And we're going to have a lot of salt. This recipe is great for if you want to try making a very luxurious bar of soap without having to spend a lot of money on expensive oils and different things like that. So this is perfect because coconut oil is one of those oils that is less expensive. So it is great for if you want to use it in high quantities, but you still want to get a very luxurious bar. Coconut oil is great for cleansing and adding good bubbles to the soap. So this is going to be a 100% coconut oil soap. No other oils, but I'm going to be giving you some tips and my recipe and different things I use to help elevate this soap all naturally. All of the soaps I make are all natural, so I use things like essential oils and all natural colorants. So I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks, and also this is a salt bar. So if you've never used a salt bar before, first of all, you should because they are amazing. But what salt bars do is they make the bar more hard and long lasting. So that amount of salt helps to keep the soap very hard and long lasting. A lot of people come up and they wonder about the soaps because they don't want the soap to get mushy or kind of like melt in the shower. And salt bars will not do that. They have so much salt in them that they are hard as a rock, and they are so hard and they last a very long time in the shower. And salt also makes for a very foamy lather on the bar. So it is just very good for the physical aspect of the soap, but it's also great for your skin. If you've ever been told to gargle with salt water, if you have a sore throat, it's the same principle for your skin. It is great for healing benefits, and just salt is good for your skin in general. So we're going to get into recipe and how I make this. So for this recipe, you can make this in soap calc, but I'm going to give you, this is 100% coconut oil, so if you have a different mold than me, I'm going to be making 100 bars of this soap today in 2 slab molds. So if you want to go in soap calc and adjust the recipe so that it's smaller or bigger, you can do that with the 100% coconut oil. But this is 160 ounces of coconut oil that I'm using in my bucket. I have a 5-gallon bucket right here in my bucket tilter. We are doing a 50-50 lye solution. I do a 50-50 lye solution because it helps with measuring. It's more simple to measure because here we have 21.99 ounces of water, and you'll use that same number to measure your lye. So it is more simple because they are the same number. One question I get sometimes is, doesn't that accelerate your soap? I've never had my water discount. I have tried multiple water discounts and nothing has ever accelerated my soap like temperature and misbehaving essential oils. So I have never, in my experience, now I have made thousands of bars of soap with lots of different things, and in my experience those are the things that really will accelerate your soap. So I wouldn't worry too much about your water as long as you keep your temperatures low and you mix with caution if you're worried. That also helps with water weight in the soap. Water weight is a part of curing the soap, and so having less water to begin with helps with that portion of the curing process. For this soap, I am doing a 25% super fat. I am doing that because we have a 100% coconut oil soap, and coconut oil is a more cleansing soap, so that's why some people, if they make a soap bar for washing dishes, they will use 100% coconut oil soap with no super fat. So this is of course not for dishes, it's for our skin. So I'm doing a 25% super fat, but this is still a very good soap. This still has a very nice lather, very good foamy bubbly lather. For this soap we also have white kaolin clay. You can do about a teaspoon per pound of oils of kaolin clay. So white kaolin clay is good for a lot of things. It's great for your skin, but it also adds slip to the bar of soap. So if you want a very silky lather along with the bubbliness, it is really good for that. I use white kaolin clay in like my shampoo bars to add slip so you can detangle your hair. So this just makes for a very silky lather on your bar. We also have sugar water. So this is just plain sugar in some distilled water. What I do is I do 1 teaspoon of sugar per pound of oils. just your oil weight, not your regular soap weight, and then I pour just enough distilled water over it to dissolve it. I don't take water out of my lye solution to make this, just because, like I said, I have a steep water discount that this little amount of water is not going to affect my soap recipe. And also, I don't know if you can tell, but this is a thick solution because it's kind of like a syrup. So I do not have a lot of water in this for the amount of sugar. And also what I do is once I pour the water in, I mix it up and I put it in the microwave just for a couple seconds so that it dissolves, because I want it to be clear, and this is very clear. And we're not going to be using a essential oil in this soap today, just because we do like to offer a unscented option on our website for people who are very sensitive to scents and like more of a pure bar. But if you want to add essential oils to your soap, you can go to eocalc.com to calculate blends or how much essential oil you want to put in your soap. And you can also go to your supplier usage rates. I do have a video on all of my suppliers for essential oils, where I get my oils, if you want to check that out. And then for the main star of the show, we have salt. So salt is very good for the soap, just like I said, but we are going to be using just plain salt. You can use different types of salt, but I just use plain salt. So one way to find this is to go find pickling salt in your store. So pickling salt, because it's used for preserving food and eating, it's food grade, a lot of times it is plain. Now, of course, look at your ingredient label, make sure it doesn't say anti-caking agents or anything like that. But I use just plain salt. So that is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to go ahead and pour my salt and my additives in my oils so that I can get it all blended together. So what I do is I put my salt in the oils and I blend it. A lot of people ask me about this. Is, you know, a lot of times people tell you to do it, put the salt in after you've mixed your lye in. I like to do it before because I feel like it makes for a more smooth texture in the bar. Plus, if you add your salt in after the lye is in, it can make the soap get kind of thicker than you like. I like to work with my soaps as long as I want to. I like to take my time, so I like to put my salt in first. So like I said, first I'm going to add my salt into my bucket. Now that we've got that in there, I'm going to add my white kaolin clay. So this is just my clay here. We're going to get this into my coconut oil. And like I said, I have my oil here at a very good temperature. I like to say, especially if you're a beginner, to keep your soap temperatures around body temperature. And that is about 97 degrees and about 100 degrees. So that's a good way to remember. And this is my sugar water solution. I do think it's funny, even though this soap does not have a scent in it, when we go to market, some people come up and they smell the soap and they really enjoy the plain soap scent, because soap does have a smell to it, and not like a smell in a bad way, it just has a scent. But some people really enjoy that, so I think that is interesting. Now, I'm going to take my blender, and we're going to blend all of the chunks together so we can put our lye in. And I will have in the description links to my blender, my bucket tilter, my molds. There will be a lot of links in the description if you want to grab some of my equipment for yourself. Now that we've got all of this mixed together, I'm going to put my lye safety goggles on and we're going to pour our lye solution in. And I also have my lye solution at the cool temperature too. That's what you want to make sure you have all of your ingredients at a nice cool temperature. And then we are going to get this all mixed together. I want to get this blended to a nice trace, just because if you don't blend your salt and your soap well enough till it's thick, the salt can sink to the bottom of your mold. And we don't want that. So I'm going to blend this well. So now that this is all blended together, I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my mold. In a little bit, I will spray these with alcohol. I don't want to do it quite yet just because I just poured them. I want them to set up a little bit more before I do that. So that did come out really well. I'm really happy with how that came out. It didn't accelerate. It didn't do anything special. And that's just how this recipe is. So I will be back to cut this in about 2 to 3 hours. Because we have so much salt in the soap, I do not want to wait too long to cut this. You can't wait too long to cut this. Like a regular soap you might cut in a day or a couple of days. But salt soap you have to cut pretty early, because it will break your wires if you do not cut it early. So I will be back to cut it in a little bit. I'll spray it. I'm going to go clean up a little. I'm going to probably do some schoolwork and do some little things like that. So stay tuned for that, and I appreciate you guys for watching so far. It has been 2 hours since I poured the soap. I poured it about 1, and it is 3 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get this cut. And once I take my mold off, I'm going to put the mold back into place, because once I cut this, I'm going to put the soaps that are cut back into the mold right here. Because this is still hot and it's still saponifying, I want it to still keep its warmth for the time being. And this is especially true for soaps with color, because you want to make sure it goes through gel phase. You want to make sure you glove up well with salt soap, because this is being cut before it is saponified, but also it does get hot. Salt soaps do get more warm than normal soaps. The interesting thing about salt soap is that it doesn't crack or explode like some soaps do. Here's our other loaves. So we're gonna get this loaf here cut. And salt soap does cut very smoothly. Salt soap does not behave very differently texturally from regular soaps. They do not feel hard or gritty. They feel very smooth. They do not have a very gritty texture. They do not cut gritty, or they're not like sandpaper. I know a lot of people at markets, when they ask questions for salt bars, the main question I get is about texture and if it's gritty or if it's going to be abrasive, but it's not. It feels smooth, and you do get the salt benefits, but the lather is smooth. You're not going to get like if you use a scrub, it's going to be a scrubby texture on your skin, which is great for that, but the soap lather itself is not scrubby. So I'm going to get these side pieces cut into bars. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below where you're from. I love seeing all of the different places you guys are from. Even if you're just in a different state, I love to see it. And if you have any video ideas you'd like to see me do, if there's something specific you have a question about, leave it below. I try to answer all of your questions the best I can. I love reading them. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and Make sure to like and subscribe. All of your support helps me. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.